This is the REAIM Summit at The Hague in the Netherlands and our special online program. Thank you very much for staying with us. So in a moment, in our studio, we have a special envoy for this summit, Ed Kronenburg, and he's going to talk to us about so many other themes that have come up throughout the day. And I know you've been hearing a lot about the responsible use of artificial intelligence in the military domain, but even within that topic, there are some sub-themes as well. We told you earlier that we had various exhibitions, presentations, panel discussions. So what else has been happening that he can share with us, his observations, his thoughts about the way forward? And also, I'm just curious what it takes to put together a summit of this magnitude. We'll do that in just a moment, but first let's just watch this video that gives us an idea of what's been happening throughout the day.
Welcome everyone.
We have about 1,500 participants from all over the world coming to The Hague to discuss AI in the military domain.
It's really inspiring that the Netherlands has decided to run this summit.
I hope to see some new things.
And I can't wait to participate when it starts at 9 o'clock.
AI is everywhere. It has been estimated that AI is as groundbreaking as nuclear technology, and that it has huge, huge potential. I'm convinced that we can truly make a difference here today and tomorrow in The Hague.
I'm very happy that we have all these stakeholders present here, so I'm very much looking forward to a very interesting program.
Ed, welcome to our special online program.
Thank you very much.
Tired yet, or
No.
are you energized for what's
About to begin.
Just about to begin. Has the day turned out the way you'd expected?
Yes, I'm extremely happy because it's so far been a great conference. And of course, you never know exactly how things will in the end shape up. Mm-hmm. But I must say that we're extremely satisfied with the way things have been going so far, with a huge number of participants, many very interesting workshops and panels. And of course, in the preparations, we realized that there were many angles from which you could approach this very important topic. Mm-hmm. But today we realize how important these different angles are and actually how they influence the whole debate. So I think we're very happy and pleased that the outcome is what it is as of today.
All right, we'll get into the themes, but I'm just curious to know, I mean, you spoke about participants, and I've certainly interacted with participants from a wide spectrum. You know, there's an intersectionality, it's broad. Some are academics, researchers, experts, government advisors, diplomatic officials. It's just so broad. What does it take to put together an event of this magnitude?
Well, you have to start with a very clear mission statement. And I think the overriding idea was to raise the awareness about the topic, about the responsible use of AI in the military domain. And from the very beginning, we felt that we would have to involve all the important stakeholders. So, of course, that implied governments, politicians, practitioners, military people, but also the business community, of course, universities, startups, think tanks, and the NGOs, who are also having a great interest in this topic. So, I mean, you have a sort of a plan, obviously a game plan. You start calling people, connecting people. We also sent out calls for proposals to institutions, universities, to see what topics they would like to address at the conference. And we've been going around, I mean, we've been visiting countries to plead our cause, so to speak. And we also organized this conference together, of course, with the co-host, with the Republic of South Korea. But we also had a sort of cross-regional consultation mechanism, a global consultation mechanism in which we included 20 countries. So, and sort of made progress together in the run-up to the conference so that everybody was on board. And everybody knew, of course, what to expect from the conference. And that gave us a lot of input, a lot of good ideas, and this is how it came about.
Mm-hmm. I mean, war and military issues are not pretty topics, but they are necessary. So perhaps tell us why you think such a summit is important.
It is important because there are a lot of sort of mysteries about what AI exactly is, what it is going to be, what its implications are, how it can be used. There are opportunities, but there are also risks involved. And we wanted to demystify also what AI, in fact, might imply in the military domain. And I think we've been so far successful in doing so because of all the discussions we've been having today and also in the run-up to the conference. because we did organize expert workshops, and we sort of, involved already at that point in time the different stakeholders. So also ourselves, we got a better picture of what would be at stake at the conference. And it is, it's a bit also, I think, typical for the Netherlands, I would sort of say, because actually it's our constitution that we have to promote international peace and stability. And we know that the way AI is going to be used is also very important for peace and stability and the overall security in the world. So
Okay.
it's a bit of a paradox, of course, that we're in the middle of great conflict now in Europe. But there we are.
That's reality. Okay, I'll tell you what, we're very keen to hear everything you have to say, Ed, but as is the nature of the beast, we're working with technical aspects, we're working with technology. We're just going to take a moment to change your microphone, and while that is happening, I just want to tell our audience members to join us tomorrow. We are about to conclude day one, but here at The Hague, at the Netherlands, the lobbying continues. It hasn't stopped. The diplomatic conversations are happening, the exchange of ideas. And I think what stood out for me is also the prominent role that NGOs have played in this summit. We heard from Amnesty International. We know that the Red Cross is here. We heard from PAX earlier on in our discussion, where they really are hesitant, maybe you could use the word circumspect, and that is the nature of NGOs. They are here to raise a different area of consideration, which I think has been accommodated here, and we will continue to hear it tomorrow. But Ed, let's just pick up then about specifically the role of the Netherlands, why it's important. I know we are co-hosting with the Republic of South Korea, but why this is particularly important for the Netherlands.
It's not just important for the Netherlands. We took the initiative, but this is a global topic. And we felt, of course, from the very beginning, that we needed to involve all the stakeholders. And it would have to be a global presentation, a global participation by many countries, not just the like-minded countries, Western Europe, but including countries from all over the globe. And it's also very much a debate, of course, and we know among NGOs about AI, and we also felt it would be important for those organizations to voice their concerns when it comes to the use of AI in the military domain, but also to give the opportunity to the practitioners to explain how things are working right now, what they've been developing so far, and what we can still expect, and how they want to develop their own strategies. Because we noticed that, we know of course that many countries are already quite far down the road of having their own AI strategy, but not all the countries. So we felt it would also be a good opportunity for countries to catch up, to talk to other countries and say, how have you been going about this? What sort of problems you came up against? But also to also for these countries to get a bit more information about what is happening.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, Ed, of course, overall topic, responsible use of artificial intelligence in the military domain. But it's a complex, multi-layered approach, isn't it? We delved earlier into the ethical aspects of it, the legal aspects, the technical aspects of it. Just talk to us about that interface where, I don't want to use the word clash, but where all these factors have to be brought together in the strategy.
Yeah, it's actually an opportunity, and this is my own experience, by sort of going into certain sessions or attending certain panel discussions, that you start realizing what is involved. Because of course, like you mentioned, there are ethical issues involved, there's the transparency, there's the reliability, the trustworthiness, there's the need for democratic control, and all these elements sort of interact, but you have to go into a bit more into depth of these specific topics to understand quite exactly what, for this particular concern, would be important to take into account. And this is the importance of the conference, that you give all the participants the opportunity. Even if you're an expert from a military point of view in designing or engineering AI, it's great to listen to somebody from an entirely different, angle about his or her views on the use of responsible AI in the military domain, when it comes to ethical issues, for example. So what sort of decisions you may come up against, and how are you going to handle this? What about the fact that different countries have different values and different norms? So what may be considered to be a risk in one country may not be considered a risk in another country. And these are the things that we try to sort of present today and tomorrow so that people get better knowledge about their own topic, even if they just sort of concern themselves with a particular element of responsible use.
And another thing that kind of stood out for me on this first day was when we focused on AI for good. I mean, it's still within the military domain. You mentioned the war on Ukraine, and that AI can be used to help, to identify victims, to evacuate people, and so on. How high up the agenda is that when we approach this topic, rather than these massive ships and equipment or guns and bombs? It's not only about that.
That's true. I mean, we do not have a specific session on that topic during this conference. But there is a session, I just attended a session where they actually spoke about the reliability when using AI to this effect, that you say, yes, we can distinguish, we can identify. And there are concerns about the fact whether AI is indeed capable of doing so. So we need proof that indeed you can make a distinction, that the AI doesn't sort of, make the wrong calculation. And what about the human element in all of this? I mean, would you leave it at some point to AI to do it? Or would you still have somebody else as human in the loop to verify or to take, in the end, it's his or her own decision based on the information provided by the AI system. But there's still a lot of doubts about the reliability in this respect.
That's why we're here, isn't it? Just to test the system. But there's something else that the Minister of Foreign Affairs said in his opening address. He emphasized the fact that if humanity doesn't get ready, if governments of the world don't get ready, then AI would progress at a speed that is faster than our collective expertise. And whether or not we choose to participate is irrelevant. AI is developing and permeating many areas of our lives.
Correct, yes. But this is all about stability and security, globally speaking. Obviously, if you are in a country that has not yet developed or is not going to develop in the near future its own AI and its own AI strategy or its own AI means, and you know that other countries are doing it, so you might feel a bit sort of vulnerable because you know that you will not be up against these countries if you would ever have to oppose them. And what we would like to avoid is exactly that feeling, that things are going ahead in certain countries and other countries are left behind, because that creates these feelings of insecurity. And that's why it's important for this to be a global effort. That you say, okay, we have to talk about this together, and not just about the countries that have already quite a well-developed system, but notably also with the countries that are still lagging behind, to take them on board, to make sure that we do this at the global level, because otherwise you create sort of,
inequalities and exclusion.
Which are already in existence, by the way, of course, as we all know, but it would make things even worse.
So here's something else that I'm sure is a dilemma, and that is, it's all very well to have military personnel, innovators and entrepreneurs at the forefront of all this innovation. But the fact of the matter is that we citizens vote for governments. Governments must still lead and protect people. In your view, who should lead this this sector, this move or incorporation of AI in the military?
It's a government responsibility and controlled by, in a democracy, by the parliament. They would have to approve things that are being put into practice or the means that are being deployed. It's always up to the politicians to have the final say in this. And this is how it works, at least in the Netherlands. And we would hope that this is also the way it's working in many other countries. There's always this democratic control of people that can say, yes, we will allow you to use these means, or we will only allow you to use those means under certain conditions, and we would like to verify. And this is very important, because otherwise, there's no holds barred on this.
Is it at a diplomatic level, as a special envoy, is it difficult to get consensus? I mean, the world, just the country on its own is so diverse. Now you have to bring in the world?
Well, we're not negotiating an agreement today or tomorrow. I mean, that was not the objective, and that's not what we're going to do. Hopefully, of course, in the future, we will have to talk to all the countries involved and say, how can we sort of set up some guidelines which we are going to adhere to? I mean, obviously, that's very important. That's for a later stage. I mean, it's not what we had foreseen. Nevertheless, we hope that we will have, and I know we're going to have, what we call a call to action, which has been subscribed to by all the participating countries, which is actually calling on also those countries, I mean, calling on themselves, by the way, to follow certain guidelines, to continue the discussion, and to come up with some sort of ideas and rules and regulations that they're going to imply in this field. And I think that's the ultimate goal.
And rules and regulations are important, are they not?
They're very important, and it will, I'm coming back to my previous point, it will allay the fears of some of the countries probably that have yet to sort of develop their own sets of rules and regulations in this respect, so that they know what's happening elsewhere.
So what happens after the summit? I mean, we're not at the end yet, it's tomorrow, but hopefully we're not going home and saying it was nice being at the Hague. Goodbye. What happens?
I'm quite confident that we're going to have a follow-up conference. I will leave it to the final session tomorrow, because I think that will be known at the end of the conference when the next conference and where it's going to take place. But that's the next conference. But in the meantime, between let's say tomorrow and the next conference, what we would like to do is also at the regional level give a follow-up to all what has been happening today and what will happen tomorrow. We have people in all these sort of workshops and panel discussions taking notes, seeing what's happening, what might be followed up. And I'm confident that once we have the sort of overview and we can draw the final conclusions, there will be new initiatives. And we would like to see whether some regional actors might like to take things forward, because as I said, the main reason is to put it high on the political agenda, to raise the awareness, and it's just a start. So we have to make sure that otherwise, we would have missed the ultimate goal of this conference.
Has the Netherlands positioned itself, I mean, inadvertently, as the country that is now going to be tasked with the mammoth task and responsibility towards an international agreement ultimately, or do you hope that... No.
I think we sort of gave the kickoff. We had the kickoff meeting. We have today and tomorrow. It will only work if it's going to be a collective effort. So we have to talk with all the countries involved to say how we're going to take things forward. And we know, of course, there's a lot of interest to do it. And we will definitely participate in all of that. But it's now going to be a common effort, not just by one country or two countries for that.
All right, Ed Kronenburg, what a pleasure talking to you. And congratulations, by the way, on the first day. You must be feeling some relief, and I'm sure tomorrow will go easier.
It's great to be here, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Of course, Special Envoy on responsible use of artificial intelligence in the military domain. And that's how the first day went today. We are going to be back tomorrow with more content, more debate, more panel discussions, and so on. Just in case you thought we were boring and we were all about defense and the military, how many of you knew, as I knew when I woke up this morning, that artificial intelligence can play a role in our cultural heritage, in the arts, the innovation and thinking outside the box? What would you say if I told you that AI does play a major role in museums and in the larger cultural heritage sector? In the next 30 minutes, the Rijksmuseum shows several interactive examples developed by the museum and the University of Amsterdam, including a computer-assisted analysis of iconic old master paintings, ancient ink removal from ancient works of paper, and AI-based cultural heritage image search engines. Now, if that's making your head spin, all of us have been to historic museum. Just imagine that and see what that is about. I leave you with that.